price dips are actually good for Bitcoin and make it healthier because they wash out the degenerate gamblers using irresponsible leverage. Let me tell you how that works. So with any financial asset, you can use leverage, which means borrowed money. For example, you want to invest $100, you could borrow $100 on top of the $100 you have, and you could invest $200 and then pay back the first $100 with interest. And if you get upside, you get 2 times your money. But of course, the problem is if you get downside, you get double the loss. And the problem with when you're doing that is a 50% loss means you lose 100% of your money. You have no more money. You're starting from zero. Now, people have gotten a lot more creative with financial instruments, and often you can do mostly outside of the United States. People use BitMEX in Mexico and Binance internationally, although you can't do that in the United States for the most part. At least I've not heard of anybody doing this crazy leverage in the United States. But Binance, for example, will let you do 40-to-1 leverage. In fact, BitMEX will let you do like 100-to-1 leverage, which is crazy because it means if the price moves 1% different than the direction you're hoping it goes, you lose all your money, which is crazy because no matter what price you pick as your entry point, it's virtually guaranteed that the price is going to go up or down 1%, which is going to wipe you out completely. So anyway, there's a company, an analyst company called CoinGlass, and they have an app. You don't need to go look at it because it's basically pointless. But if you want to watch people get wiped out real time, you can do that on the CoinGlass app. They have a tab for liquidations. And what they show you is a chart of all the people on Binance, which is the largest international exchange, all the people on Binance who have opened leveraged positions. And what you can see is each of the bright lines, they start with green, which means somebody's using like 2-to-1 leverage, and then it gradually shifts to bright yellow, which means they're using more than 40-to-1 leverage. Now, if you're using more than 40-to-1 leverage, that means if the price moves against you by more than 2.5%, you get liquidated. That means 2.5, for example, the price goes down 2.5%, times 40 is 100%, so you lose all your money. Of course, if the price goes up, you get 40 times return on the upside, which almost never happens because these people pretty much always get liquidated. Well, so you can watch as the price moves around. You can watch people constantly because people are idiots sometimes. Or I should say, sometimes some people are idiots and they just won't stop, is a better way to say that. And you can see people constantly, once Bitcoin starts getting any momentum in any direction, you start seeing the leveraged positions open up. You see the short positions open up above the price of Bitcoin, betting that the price will go down, and you see the long positions open up below the price of Bitcoin, betting that it will go up. In the world of investing, saying that you are long an investment means you're betting on the price going up, and saying you are short means you are betting on the price going down. And I'm not sure exactly how those terms got their meaning, but technically, I'm not even going to go through technically how that works. But anyway, it's creative. But anyway, so what happens when the price starts really getting going in one direction, such as a few days ago when the price started launching from 118 down up to 123. I think it touched 124 for a couple minutes. The price starts going up very quickly. You see all of these people who think, ooh, the price is going up. It will never come back down. I can probably safely open a 40-to-1 leveraged long position, betting that the price will never go down by 2.5% below the price that they made the investment at. And of course, when you see all of these leveraged long positions open up, it's like a magnet, because for whatever reason, whether it's the market makers who run the exchanges or, whales that have enough Bitcoin that they can move the price a little bit by dumping a bunch or buying a bunch, which I think in reality never happens. I think Bitcoin's just volatile enough that these people get wiped out. There's no malintent by everybody. It's just volatile enough that when something's that volatile and you're betting that the price is never going to move by 2.5%, and it's moving by 2.5% almost every other day, then you're an idiot if you think it's not going to move 2.5% ever again. And so the last 48 or 72 hours, let's call it the last half a week to a week, you've seen the price, if you were watching CoinGlass, you've seen the price get higher and higher and higher toward 124, and you've seen all these leveraged long positions open up, a lot of them 40-to-1, right below the price of Bitcoin. So at 21,000, 22,000, 23,000, all betting that the price will never go down by 2.5% below the price that they opened up that leverage long. And then, of course, Secretary Scott Bessent, goes on CNBC this morning and says, or yesterday, whenever it was, and says, hey, the U.S. might not buy more Bitcoin, which, of course, then he later clarified later today to say, yes, the U.S. government is going to buy more Bitcoin. But again, he had already said it, and it took him a day or 2 days, whatever it was, to clarify it. So as a result of that, the price dips. And you can see, because as soon as the price cuts through the investment positions, that means they got liquidated. It means the price moved too much opposite the direction that they were betting, and it went to zero. So if you are betting that the price will go up 40 to 1 and it goes down by 2.5%, you lose all your money. Conversely, if you are betting that the price 40 to 1, that the price is going to go down and it goes up by 2.5%, then you lose all your money also. So I am glad that none of the people who follow me on Facebook are making these ridiculous bets. But it's healthy when those people get washed out of the market, because it means the price of Bitcoin is more reflective of the actual underlying investment thesis and the underlying actual demand and adoption in the marketplace. If somebody's using 40 to 1 leverage, that means they are buying 40 times as much Bitcoin as they really can afford with the money they have, which is why they're doing 40 to 1. But that also means the price of Bitcoin at that exact moment reflects the fact that there is more Bitcoin being bought than is sustainable, that the people using borrowed money can't really follow through on that. They're just hoping they get lucky on the price movements of Bitcoin. So when all those people get liquidated, it washes them out of the market, which makes the price stronger because it is more built on adoption and fundamentals and less built on degenerate gamblers borrowing money 40 to 1, betting on the price swings. So that is a lot of what's happened over the last few days. The price went up and all the people who were shorting Bitcoin got wiped out. And then the price went down and all the people who were leveraged long Bitcoin got wiped out. And all these dumb people, I don't know why they keep doing it. As the price went down today, you see all these leveraged longs, 40 to 1, opening up right above the price of Bitcoin. These people are betting that Bitcoin will never again go 2.5% above the price today, which is insane, because what happens as soon as all those leveraged longs get out there, the price then takes a turn, goes up, and all those people get wiped out again. This just happens over and over and over until people finally have lost so much money doing this that they either have no more money or the market has just exhausted these people, at which point it just marches higher based on the fundamentals of supply and demand of actual real money that actually real people have. Now, is it wrong to do leveraged bets? No, it's not wrong. I mean, if somebody's willing to lend you money 40 to 1, there's nothing morally wrong about doing that other than it's extremely irresponsible. I mean, I don't know. Maybe it's not morally right to be that irresponsible. It's a whole lot like casino gambling. But it's not impossible that you could win on your bet. It's just highly unlikely with an asset as volatile as Bitcoin that it's never going to move up or down 2.5% in the wrong direction from whichever way you're betting that it's going to go. So what's the answer to all this? Super simple. Buy as much Bitcoin as you can with money you actually have and sit on it for as long as conceivably possible. Because if you're not using leverage, if you're not doing crazy to 1, 10 to 1, 30 to 1, 40 to 1 bets on Binance or BitMEX, you can't get liquidated. There's no way for regular people like you and me to get liquidated the way these degenerate gamblers are getting liquidated. Because if you're not using borrowed money, it's impossible to get liquidated. Also, it's impossible to get liquidated if the money that you are investing in Bitcoin comes from an asset. If you're not backing it with something, well, let me put it this way. If you did what I did when I bought my Tesla, which is I borrowed money at 6% interest from Trustmark Bank, and instead of liquidating Bitcoin to buy that Tesla at $85,000 per coin, I instead kept the Bitcoin I would have liquidated, and I'm going to slowly pay off that Tesla over, it's either 5 or 6 years, however long it is, with Bitcoin that for the vast majority of that time should be radically higher than $85,000 per coin. But I'm never going to get liquidated on that. The price of my Tesla is not mark to market. An appraiser does not come out to my house and reevaluate the price of my collateral every day. In fact, that never happens. As long as I make the payments for the next 5 or 6 years, nobody cares what I do with the Tesla. The market, the securities market is not like that. If you're borrowing money 40 to 1 with collateral, like Bitcoin, that where the price does go up and down, then you can get liquidated. Again, you don't need to worry about any of this unless you are borrowing against your Bitcoin. If you are borrowing against your Bitcoin, you do have to worry about being liquidated, which is why I do not ever recommend people borrow against their Bitcoin. In the future, when Bitcoin is more stable, and obviously when it's more stable, it'll have less upside. The two always go together. The volatility is reflective of the economic upside. So anything that has less volatility is going to have less economic upside. So at some point in the future, Bitcoin will be more stable, but it will also have less economic upside, and it will make sense to borrow against it. But even though I have enough Bitcoin that I could borrow against my Bitcoin, and I could over-collateralize it, meaning the price would have to move against me by some radical number, like 90%, I'm still not going to do it, because I don't lay in bed at night wondering if I'm going to get liquidated. I own the Bitcoin I own. It's as much Bitcoin as I need right now. Hopefully I'll have a way to buy more in the future, but right now I'm 100% Bitcoin, so I don't have anything to buy more Bitcoin with. And I'm not going to use leverage. I'm not going to do stupid stuff. And I don't have to worry about getting liquidated. And you don't either, because the vast majority of the people in the United States don't even have a way of doing 40 to 1 leverage, or even 10 or 2 to 1, to my knowledge, because for the most part, you just can't do that sort of crazy stuff here in the US. So anyway, that is the quick rundown. Bitcoin is now stronger. It is better to have Bitcoin at 118,000 with all the degenerate gamblers washed out than to have Bitcoin at 118,000. That reflects still the fact that a bunch of degenerate gamblers are still there. So those people have all been taken to the woodshed, lost a bunch of money. Bitcoin is stronger, and it's similar to the way a tree is much stronger if the wind blows it around a good bit. And if a tree never gets hit by the wind, then the tiniest little wind knocks it over because it never got strengthened by the back and forth. So Bitcoin's the same way. It's strengthened by contact with the marketplace, and the more degenerate gamblers that keep losing money on these ridiculous leverage bets, the stronger Bitcoin gets, because the more times these people touch the hot oven, the more they stop doing it, which means the price of Bitcoin is even better reflective of adoption and true market upside potential. So much better to have a $118,000 price with the whipsaw getting a bunch of the degenerate gamblers out than 118,000 that still has a bunch of 40 to 1 leverage still in it. So Scott Bessent has now said the U.S. government will indeed buy more Bitcoin after all at some point. I really don't care one way or the other. I've got mixed feelings about whether I want the government to own a bunch of Bitcoin anyway, but it will make the price go up if they do, for what it's worth. So anyway, we are as strong as we've ever been, possibly the strongest Bitcoin has ever been, with 118,000 having set a new all-time high, so people know it can get up there, and having washed out all the stupid high leverage gambling activity that was taking place around these price levels, although inevitably there will be somebody new who steps up wanting to lose some money, but they will get washed out as well. So buy as much Bitcoin as you can, hold on to it for as long as conceivably possible. That is the formula. It's not that hard. Thanks, everyone.